That's brand new Queensryche right here on your Classic Metal Show. That one was called Espiritu.
I love that new record.
Where to? That is the Japanese bonus track.
That new record is great, man.
It's
Todd
so
Latour has
good,
brought
man.
so much life back into that band.
Now, I know you're a big Queensryche fan, and I believe at one point you were a Jeff Tate fan.
Up until about Promised Land. And
Okay.
I liked Mindcrime 2 a lot. I know a lot of people
I like
don't,
that.
but I like Mindcrime 2 a lot. The other albums, I don't really like at all.
Weren't a big fan of American Soldier?
No, God. Or that album with the ears on the cover.
Yeah, ear in
or
the
that
Now Frontier.
Q2K. Or no, I wasn't a fan of any of that stuff.
I'm a little more lenient, I guess. I found reasons to like songs on those.
If I would have taken time, I might have liked the song here or there,
Yeah.
but I don't want to eat a whole ham sandwich and have one bite be good. You know?
Right. I think if you took all of those records, you could make one really good record.
Maybe.
You know, and there would be some records that would have no representation, dedicated to chaos.
Yeah.
Fucking
American Soldier.
American Soldier was bad.
Yeah.
Just bad.
Almost as bad as him wearing the wig singing Lola.
Yeah,
You know
that
what's
was
weird
bad.
about that?
What?
Is, people say that once something is online, it's online forever.
Yeah.
You go online and try and find that video.
Is it gone?
It's gone. I mean, it's gone. That's, I think, the only video in the history of the internet that somehow
just
somebody
disappeared.
managed to completely scrub it from the internet because it's so embarrassing.
That's funny.
Because
Dude,
I looked for that a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, why can't I find? I was determined to find it, and I could not find it anywhere.
You know what the thing is too is I think that Jeff is for now with Operation Mindcrime where he's kind of starting over. I think he's really taking the approach of scrubbing all of the bad that he did in the last 2 or 3 years. Because I mean, I tell the story, and I'm not mad. But Jeff, on our show, on Classic Metal Show, he's our most frequent guest.
Yeah.
We've had him on the show, I think the count at this point is 16 times.
I've heard a couple interviews you've done with him. Yeah.
And we've always, and I mean, I personally, even outside of the Classic Metal Show, one of the most famous things that I've done was with Jeff. It was me and Matt on the Metal Show. We were the ones that did that, the what was at the time a very famous interview about when he said he doesn't talk to the band. He only talks through lawyers and band managers. And that caused all kinds of insanity. We were getting, we never... I'll be nice about it and say we did not get threatened with anything, and other than they asked us politely and we declined to take it down.
Can you imagine working in that atmosphere?
Oh, it would have sucked.
It's like the way the last Sabbath album was made.
Oh,
they called it the Lawyers album because they were all communicating through lawyers.
Yeah, just terrible. It has to suck. But I know Jeff was always, even in the wake of that, he was still cool with us. And, he put out a thing thanking me and Matt on the Queensryche.com website.
Now, did you give him any shit about, the videos where he was spitting on Scott Rockenfeld and, when he attacked the band and all that
kind
of
of
stuff?
The last time I talked to Jeff, which was for Frequency Unknown, I did bring all that up. And I said to him, he was going off onto, like, the pity party of Oh Poor Me. And I was like, well, wait a minute, dude. You did do this. You did do that. And his answer was... You don't know all of it, and I'm not going to spill all of it, but there was more going on that led to that.
Well, I'm sure there was, but that doesn't make it right.
Well, and not only that, when you do something in public, you got to answer for it in public.
Well, and no matter how much I would hate you over some kind of an argument we would have, I would never fucking spit on you.
Well, that's it. It was
that's just a level of depravity. I'd rather be punched than spit on.
Right. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It was very shitty what he did. And I did ask him, and he didn't really answer it. And what are you going to do? Beat him up until he hangs up? You ask the question, you follow it up when he tries to duck, and then after that you're at that crossroads of, do I move on and keep going and maybe swing back around or what? But he did not really answer it.
I just think that last period of the band where he was in control of most of the songwriting and stuff was terrible. But I really think these last couple albums and this last show with Scorpions, this last tour, was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really great. I just wish Todd Latour would have done an album with Crimson Glory before he joined Queensryche.
Yeah, because Crimson Glory, great band. I wonder if he would have, though, if he would have joined Queensryche.
He was in.
I know he was in it. But
there were some demos and they sounded really good.
But if he had a static piece would he have been so willing to jump to Queensryche, which was a damaged, Crimson Glory. Yeah, Midnight drank himself to death. We get that, but they're Crimson Glory. They were not big with a big ass wound in them.
Right.
There was,
but they still didn't have the name recognition of the fan base at Queensryche.
Sure,
so.
but
even a damaged Queensryche is better than an undamaged Crimson Glory. As far as
but that's
touring capabilities and fan base and stuff like that.
Sure, but at the same time, that's an awful big set of shoes to fill.
Yeah,
Jeff Tate
he's filling it pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean he is an icon. Forever, he was one of the big. If you said name the top 5 singers, he was almost universally one of those
old
guys.
Tours were legendary, man. The Mindcrime tours, and I saw him open for Kiss on the Warning tour.
Wow,
at the Coliseum.
That had to be cool.
Oh, it was great.
That had to be cool.
They played with Twisted Sister at an Engineers Hall in Cleveland.
Wow,
on the EP tour. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I like you. I'm a big Queensryche fan, but this last time, the current thing, the Operation Mindcrime, I put in the request, did it through management, immediately turned down. And I was like, why am I turned down? And to go back a little bit, I don't know how familiar you are with our history, but we do this one segment with the real Jeff Tate, and it's a caller that calls in and kind of mutates some of the crazy shit that Jeff does. Yeah, it's silly. And the last time that we talked to Jeff, it came with a lot of stipulation about you can't have him on the phone, because I joked saying that we would have him on the phone do an interview.
See, one of the best Stern clips ever was when they had Greg Gass that does the great Gene Simmons impersonation. They had him and Gene on at the same time.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great.
Why can't people have a sense of humor anymore?
Because it's very serious,
You're a fucking rock singer, dude. There's nothing serious about it.
It's very serious.
Get on there with your impersonator and have some fun. Get the stick out of your ass.
It's very serious talking about Frequency Unknown.
Get the stick out of your ass. God.
Nice. But no, for this tour, for this album run, the publicist read my review on Pit Riff and said, we're passing. Not mad, but can't let you talk to my artist because you gave it a 40 or whatever out of 100. And I was like, really? I was like, so, and I called him and I said to him, what you're telling me is that even though I have a history of 20 years with Jeff, and when we had Jeff come to the studio at 92. I picked him up at the airport personally and took him to the studio, and then he did the show live with Matt and I.
It's too bad you can't contact him directly, man.
I probably
because
could.
He would probably do it.
I could contact,
and it's what we talked about before. A lot of these publicists sometimes, I think, do stuff that the artists have no idea that they're doing. And I think the artists would not be very happy with if they knew they were doing it.
Yeah, well, and the saddest part is that you read the same shit I do. You read Blabber and Brave and maybe Sleaze Rocks or whatever. I mean, you see the same core of interviews that are out there. Where is there any interviews getting done with Jeff right now?
After the big Queensryche drama, split up court case, all that stuff, and maybe his Frequency Unknown. After that, he's kind of dropped off the map. Well, except for maybe a story about his wine or something now and then, But he has corking a new bottle of wine.
Yeah, but he has a record. He has a record out right now, and he's not really getting any. Maybe he's doing interviews, but they're not with big enough outlets to get him any attention.
I haven't heard the record. Is it any good?
No.
Does it come with a free bottle of wine so it sounds better?
That would have made it. That might have taken it up to a 60. It's, you know what? It's more of the same. That it's dedicated to chaos again. It's slow. I will say that the story is interesting because it is a concept that's going to be over 3 records.
Oh God!
And the concept is pretty cool. It's kind of about the best I've been able to understand it, which is one of the things I wanted to do is just simply talk to him and ask him to explain it to me because I'm stupid and I can't understand it, I guess. But it's kind of the concept of Bitcoin, but going on to a global scale. And how it would be used if it's accepted globally corruptly. So it's an interesting theory that potentially could be real world, but it's in the the voice of Queensryche, which makes it a little hard to digest. And I was fair about the record. I just didn't feel very good. It was slow. It was dull. Jeff doesn't sound great. He hasn't sounded great.
No, he really hasn't.
In years, and that's not me beating him up.
Some of that Todd LaTorre stuff, when he does the earlier stuff, it sounds so much like Tate. It's almost uncanny.
Sure.
It's almost. I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard a replacement singer sound as close to the original as him.
And he picked one of the hardest voices ever. The only one that might come close, Arnel Pineda.
Yeah,
I mean, he really does parry well.
Yeah,
but no, I agree. And I have not seen the Queensryche yet. It totally, dude. When they were here in Pittsburgh, the night they were here, I was in Pittsburgh. The next night when they went there, I was here. I was so fucking pissed because I'm like I said, I'm a big Queensryche fan, and I like Todd a lot. And
I'm a big Scott Rockenfeld fan too.
Yeah,
so
I like Scott.
He's one of my probably top 5 favorite drummers.
Yeah, well, we did a cool thing with him, with me and Matt on the Metal Show. We did with that Slave to the System. We brought them in for an extreme session where we had like 10 fans and the band at the old Lava Room, the one that was out on Detroit, and in the big old brick, whatever that was. We had them out there for 10 fans play a set.
Wow,
it was fucking cool.
I bet it was.
And Scott's a really nice cat. He's a nice cat, and Damon Johnson was really cool. And
I did interview Jeff a couple of times during my radio days, and he was always very, very cordial. And I just lost a lot of respect when the whole Queensryche thing imploded.
Well, sure.
I just thought that he just really handled himself in such a piss poor way.
Well, he did.
It's one thing to be an asshole now and then. Everybody's an asshole now and then, but he was just so far beyond that.
Well, you can't take band business public.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And you know what? When you're spitting at people on stage, if that happened backstage and it's rumored, that's one thing. You might not respect him if you heard it. You might be like, what a fucking asshole. But when you're watching it on YouTube, and then there's some trying to justify it.
How do you not come across the drum set and just start beating his ass?
I never understood why Scott didn't.
Or how do you not break off a drumstick and throw it like a knife and try and stick it in his back when he's singing?
I would have kicked the drums over onto him. It would have just been boom, and then I'd have jumped down and beat his ass. I mean that's.
I think the guys, when there was the one big attack going on between him and the band, I think the guys from Fates Warning were there.
Were they?
I think so, yeah.
Jesus.
Or they might have been doing an opening gig or something.
Right.
And they witnessed it all.
Jesus, man. It's just sad when your bands completely implode like that.
Well, I think it was the best thing to happen to them because they're so much better now.
Yeah, they are.
And he just seemed like he was just lacking such just creativity and there was just no spark there with those albums anymore. Well, and now there is.
Yeah, I just think that he honestly, and people probably, I'll get ready for some backlash saying this, he outgrew Queensryche. And I'm not saying what he's doing is better, but I think it's what he wants to do. And that's fair if that's what he wants to do. But I think the thing that really sucked was that he took possession of the band somehow, and he forced those other guys.
Well, there was a Yoko type situation in there too, right?
Yeah. Susan is.
You can't bring fucking Yoko in, dude. No. Yoko is never. When has Yoko ever been good?
It's never.
Yoko is never good.
No, not at all.
How'd Yoko help Yngwie? Yoko is never good.
No, it never is.
How'd Yoko help Michael Schenker? Remember the Michael Schenker Yoko years?
And what was that girl's name?
When he would post, 80 pages of emails of just psychotic ramblings between him and her.
What was that girl's name?
I don't remember.
God damn it.
Me and Bill Peters used to laugh about that song.
Yeah, and he took her on tour with him.
Yeah, never good with Yoko.
Schenker. Schenker's not exactly Johnny Stable anyway.
Does he still have the cross tattooed in his forehead?
I don't know. I'm not. He's one of them guys, dude. And I know you're a UFO guy, and I know you have a personal relationship with Pete Way, and that's cool. Schenker and Bill Peters and I have gone back and forth with this all the time. I don't see it.
Schenker?
I don't see it.
See, I love the Schenker stuff, but I also love the Paul Chapman stuff. I love the Vinnie Moore stuff.
Yeah, I don't see Schenker as this elite guy. I see him as a good guitarist.
I don't either.
I don't. People keep telling me that it's tone and feeling. Shut up.
And there's not really. People will rag on me for this, but the Schenker solo album I like the most is the first one with Robin McCulley.
Oh, yeah.
I think the songwriting on that album is great, but the other Schenker albums, Assault Attack, and those albums everybody thinks are so great, I would never listen to those for pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, it is, the UFO stuff. I mean, I like Walk on Water, which I know is not exactly a super popular one. And
dude, it's a great album.
It's good. I don't even know if that's Schenker or if that's somebody else. I have no idea.
That Schenker. That was one of he did one other album after that.
Yeah, Sharks or something.
Yeah. That You Are Here album with Vinnie Moore is great.
Yeah, that's very good. Now some of their stuff lately, the Monkey Puzzle and
I didn't like the last two albums.
What was that? What was the one with the black coffee?
Oh, that's You Are Here. See, I think that's a great album.
I don't like that song though.
There's some good tunes on that. They're releasing a 4 CD live box set of all Chapman stuff.
Oh, that'd be good.
I just saw that the other day that's going to be coming out. And then there's a bonus disc of, I think, the one show they did with some other guitar player.
Nice. Well, but they'll release it. Hey, it's a rare thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, it's really, and where I was going with this is you've been around a lot of this stuff and you've interviewed a lot of guys. Every band that we know from our era has changed musicians.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, and for whatever reason, whether it was death like Metallica or whether it was just guys flake off or whatever the reason. And you and I have a very common ground of we've interviewed these band guys that try to tell us why it's better with the new guy.
Oh, your newest record's always the best, man.
It's always the same thing. Well, insert name here, brought new energy to the band.
Yeah.
Richie Faulkner brought new energy to Judas Priest.
He did?
Did he?
When?
Yeah, really. He brought new energy from Nostradamus. I'll say that. But I certainly don't think anybody is listening to Judas Priest now going, God damn it, they're so much better without KK Downing. But isn't it funny how I mean, and you've done enough interviews to have this too. You know as well as I do. Like I know probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, the most famous interview that you've done is the one with Dee Snider. Is that right?
Probably one of them. Yeah,
it's one of the top 3 or 4, whatever. Yeah. And what makes that one good, and people can Google that one on YouTube. That's and it's a cool one to watch. What makes it cool? Dee doesn't give a fuck.
Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't give a shit. He's not trying to protect anybody. He's not Howard Stern apologizing to Kathy Lee Gifford.
No.
He doesn't give a fuck. The guy from Elektra Records just screwed him, and he's wishing cancer on him.
Yeah, I know. It was so good. But that's because Dee set his career in a path of, I'm never going to fucking sell out. And he never did. I mean, he's done records that weren't good. But he's done.
Is the Christmas musical selling out?
No, because he's old, and he's even said
it doesn't matter if he's old.
Well, but he's already said. But he's at least been honest enough to say, I'm at this point in my career where I'm doing this now.
What about a Stanley Steamer carpet commercial? Did you ever see that?
Yeah, maybe he sold out a little bit there. All right.
I knew it. Okay.
Maybe I forgot about that part.
Yeah. That is one of the worst commercials ever.
Yeah, that I forgot about that.
Go to YouTube and Google Dee Snider Stanley Steamer.
Yeah, that's awful.
It's not the kind of steamer you're hoping for.
Yeah, and I don't want to see any Cleveland Steamers in the fucking chat room either, you fucks. I don't need to see that. But it is kind of, don't you think it's I guess my question is, do you think these guys even believe their own bullshit? Are they, maybe even at the time, I think as time goes on they realize that's like, I'll tell you a true story with somebody I work with, Don Dokken. Don, the first ever hang up I ever had in an interview was Don Dokken. I was interviewing him for Shadow Life, which is a piece of shit. And I asked Don, it was one of them interviews that it was very clear he was not in the mood to do. And he was, yes, no.
So that just made you fuck with him even more, didn't it?
Well, No, it was. I was still brand new. That was 97. That was right when I was getting started writing and whatnot. And I was more worried that fucking Kimberly Hagelberg would be mad at me if I did a shitty interview or whatever at the time.
I remember her.
Yeah, but so I'm doing this interview and Don's just not giving me nothing. And so I was like, well, let me try like a neutral question that I can build from. You know, I'll ask him just a generic question, and whatever his answer is, I'm going to go with it. So I said to him, where does this record stand in the Dokken catalog? Is it the best? Is it the worst? You know, where would you line it up? Next to what? And Don says, oh, it's the best record of our career. And I said, really? And he's like, what, you don't think it is? And I said, and I was cautious. And I said, are you asking me what I think? And he's like, yeah, what do you think? And I just lit him up. I said, dude, this record sucks. I was like, you sound like shit. You're going through an effect. Fucking Lynch sounds terrible. The songs are all modern rock shit. This is awful. And he goes, well, fuck you, man. Click. That's my first ever hang up.
Well, I guess it's okay to be excited about what you're currently working on.
Yeah,
but you have to have some kind of a gauge where your ego just doesn't take over, and you can. I mean,
every band knows their pinnacle record. Every band knows, and it might not be their personal favorite, but you can't tell me that Dokken doesn't know fucking Tooth and Nail and Under Lock and Key. A or B is everybody's favorite record of theirs.
Yeah,
you know, and to say Shadow Life. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. And it's funny because now if you ask Don about Shadow Life, now he tells the truth. He's like, now when you talk to him, he's like, just look at it. I wouldn't even put the real logo on it, which it's not. It's a fucking bullshit logo because he didn't want the real logo to represent on it. You know, that's how much he didn't care for it. But these guys
why put something out that you know is shit?
Because they have these contracts. They have to have something out in that time frame. That's why they all do it. Dude, everyone, especially the hair bands, but I don't want to say only the hair bands, but especially when the hair metal scene went down, when everybody went from Elektra to CMC, you know, and that's where they all went. Yeah. They all landed at the, what was that? The something cemetery?
Yeah.
The music cemetery, whatever that was. Classic music cemetery.
Classic music cemetery.
Yeah. When they all ended up at CMC, they all put out shitty records. I mean, if you list all those bands and you think about the records that they put out in that time frame, you had Rat with the self-titled record, which was a piece of shit. You had Warrant with Ultraphobic and then Belly to Belly.
See, I don't even know those records. They were so shitty.
So
I never even listened to them long enough to remember the name of them.
Well, that's it. You had Dokken with Shadow Life. You had what was the Great White record? That one was probably the best of the bunch. I can't get there from here or something.
Yeah, or Sail Away or something. Or
that was okay. I think that was still on Big Label.
Okay.
I think Sail Away, and because then it had the Anaheim concert tagged on. Yeah. And for it to have a bonus disc, that clearly had to be Big Money. That was not CMC. No, they were in that John Kolodner crew.
Yeah.
And that was that. What was that album called? Like Can't Get There from, or Let It Rock. I think that was what it was. Let It Rock. These are albums no one remembers except me because I'm a retard, you know. But that was they all promoted it like this is the shit, man.
Of course,
this is going to bring us back.
Of course.
But did they believe it? Do you think they believed it even at the time?
What about, do you think they believe that they're still huge when they're playing after the indoor arena football game and there's 10 people there? Did you see that video?
Yes.
What goes through a band's mind when they're doing that?
Oh, I don't know, dude. And it's so tragic when there's this documentary out there right now on Bang Tango, and that all by itself is kind of sad, you know, and. But it's called Attack of Life, the Bang Tango story. And let me just tell you,
I would rather lick my own ass than watch that.
Well, I watched it, and I'm not licking your ass.
Dude,
I watched it.
Why?
Because
why would you watch? When you're on your deathbed, you're going to be laying there going, God, I wish I had that hour back. I watched that fucking Bang Tango.
I'm going to tell you why. Because I have a soft spot for Joe Lestay. Because he was unbelievably cool to me when we brought Beautiful Creatures in to do one of those extreme sessions that we used to do. We brought Beautiful Creatures in. And he could not have been more gracious and more nice. He was only supposed to do 3 songs. He did like 6. Signed everybody's everything. Hung out for hours. I mean, literally, he was supposed to be there 45 minutes. And they must have stayed 6 hours. Just hanging out. All we had to bring them was a cooler of beer. They gave the cooler of beer to all the fans. He was really cool.
Still no excuse to watch a Bang Tango documentary.
So, but some of it was morbid curiosity. The thing, it's just out there now.
I'm going to have to watch part of it.
Oh, you have to.
I know.
It's on YouTube. And I'll tell you why it's on YouTube. Because the guy that did it, his name is Drew Fortier. I've been talking to him on Facebook. He put it together thinking he was going to do like an Anvil thing. Here you go, following this band that didn't make it. Well, no one picked it up. So he put it out on YouTube.
There's a big difference between Bang Tango and Anvil.
Yeah, but neither made it.
No,
but dude, I'll tell you what, dude. First of all, I'm going to convince you that you need to watch this.
What's next? The DeMalls documentary?
Yeah, it's coming. It probably is coming. Look, it's the documentary. Kick Tracy.
Yeah.
Almost made it.
Pretty Boy Floyd. They're 15 minutes.
Oof. Boy, they were never good. But, dude, this Bang Tango documentary, they have 2 scenes that are my favorite, might be my favorite in any movie ever. There's one... They show up to the modern day. So there's one scene where they're playing, and it's taken from like the bar, like it's one of those bars where there's like a bar on the back wall.
And one's on one side of the glory hole and one's on the other side?
No. But, there's the bar in the back, and then there's the stage all the way to the front, right? Mm-hmm. So the camera guy is sitting there on the bar. Direct shot in. 2 fucking people. And I was like, if you were trying to promote Bang Tango, there is not a worse way in the world you could promote Bang Tango than to show them playing anywhere with 2 people.
Was that their home city?
It might as well.
Why did they go? You could at least probably get 20 at their home city.
Yeah, I mean, you could have gone to L.A. and done something. But then the last scene in the whole movie is they show them playing. It had to be a festival because it's daylight, and
it's 10 a.m.
It might have been because literally it's at Pine Knob, and you've been to Pine Knob, right?
Yeah.
What's that hold? 20,000.
They're the first in 18 bands playing at 9:30 a.m.
And there's not 15 people in the crowd, and of the 15 people, and they're singing "Someone Like You," which is their hit, and.
That's a little extreme.
No one gives a fuck. There's literally people just fanning themselves.
They're probably trying to fan the sound away.
Oh, dude.
They're not fanning the heat.
It's so sad. And I was watching it, and I was like, and they're trying to say, the band guys, the guys that have long since quit the band.
The smart ones.
Yeah. Well, they're all trying to say, well... you got to give it to Joe for keeping it alive. No, you don't. Some things are meant to die. And Bang Tango, and we're joking. I like the first 2 records. I mean, don't love them, but Psycho Cafe, I was okay with that. And Dancing on Coals, I had a couple of minutes that I liked. I mean, they were always a 2nd tier or 3rd tier band to me. But every once in a while, I'd be in my car, and I was sick of listening to Guns N' Roses or Metallica or whatever, and I'd throw that in, and I'd listen to it in 1990. And it lasted till about 1991, and then it went away. But
each his own.
No, dude, I'm the first one to admit I was like a chick with hair metal. I listened to all of it.
See, I couldn't stand a lot of that shit, man. especially the shit like Pretty Boy Floyd and Bang Tango and just the really hairier of the hair metal bands.
I didn't like
like Extreme and Great White, the first two albums, and
you like the more bluesy rock,
but the Poison, that type of shit, man. Oh,
let's see. I had the Poison records. I don't listen to them now because Brett is a monumental cunt. But dude, I've had more problems with that fucking asshole than anybody.
Yeah, I was never into a whole lot of that kind of stuff.
I mean, I listened to it. It's funny because I don't listen to it at all now. I mean, I listen to it when we do the show. But even, like, if Neely throws it to me on what to play, coming out, it's always like Badlands or something. It's always something that had some meat to it. Not very rarely will I go, yeah, you know what I want to hear? Kick Tracy or fucking... something like that. Hook me up. For me, it's always got to be. It could be bands that most people didn't remember, but had a little bit of grit to it, like McQueen Street. I'm sure you couldn't name one McQueen Street song, but they had a little bit of balls to it. Maybe like a Spread Eagle. Spread Eagle had a little bit of balls to it. Skid Row had some balls to it. Even if you didn't like it, it still was more ballsy than...
I wasn't a huge fan, but I liked the second record.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't Slaughter. Let's put it that way. It was definitely more than that.
There were no Mr. Big, man.
No, I liked Mr. Big. and let me tell you something that'll make you throw a beer bottle at me.
I got a couple right here. I got a Jaeger bottle.
Three different times I saw Mr. Big and then walked out on Rush.
Oh, dude, I'm going to break this Jaeger bottle over your head.
3 different times I went.
See, I saw a bunch of those shows because I've seen Rush over 50 times. They're my favorite band. And, dude, we would stay out in the car and smoke joints while Mr. Big was playing.
I went every time I went to see Mr. Big, and I would stay till, and this will tell you how much of a Rush fan I am because this is so pathetic in the Rush world. I would stay until they played Tom Sawyer, and then I would leave because the only song I wanted to hear was Tom Sawyer.
You're like the women in the audience.
I really was. I was a total chick. I told you. I was in the 90s. My musical choices were chickish, and I grew up listening to Rush. I used to bang this girl that lived up the street from me, and I had to be. Her brother was older, even older than me by a year, so I had to be cool with the brother, so he would let me fuck his sister when his mom wasn't home. That was kind of the way it worked, because I would go up to their house, and she wasn't supposed to have me over, because it's the mom,
right.
The typical mom thing. Mm-hmm. But I would hang with him. Well, his favorite band was Rush. So I would hang with him and listen to Rush for an hour or two. And I'd be like, dude, I'm going to go fucking see what your sister's up to. He'd be like, all right, cool. Because I'd get him all fucking into his world of Rush. And then I'd go and bang his sister.
You start hemispheres. You were back before the song was over.
Exactly. Dude, please. All those songs. Are you kidding me? I'm back before the second chorus of Tom Sawyer. Are you kidding me? It's 15 years old. It wasn't taking long. But yeah, so
I think that was a Counterparts tour, 95 maybe. Mr. Big opened up for them.
It was. I know one of them was in 91 or 2.
Okay, maybe it was Roll the Bones.
Roll the Bones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I saw that.
The 2 after that was Primus. That's right. With Primus.
I saw that twice, and both times I stayed till Tom Sawyer.
Oh my god!
And the beauty about Rush, they rarely play that last. They play that right in the middle of the set because even though that's their biggest quote unquote hit, they don't. Their fans hate that.
Yeah, that's the song for all the guys' girlfriends.
A lot of times they open with that, don't they?
That in Spirit of Radio, yeah.
But the 3 times that I saw them, they played it right around the middle of the set.
Well, at least you got to see some of it.
Yeah, well, and again, and I've seen Rush. I've seen them. I mean, I've seen them a few times all the way through. I've seen them probably 7 times total, and I enjoyed them. But I don't know. I'm a stupid guy at heart, and they're a little too smart for me.
I've always liked the real progressive stuff.
Yeah, see, I'm musically.
Yes, and Dream Theater, and
me musically, I'm a dummy.
Like, you were probably never a Yes fan, right?
I like the songs that I heard on the radio. Yeah. Owner of the Lonely Heart, Big Generator. Roundabout, I like the songs that I've heard on the radio.
Basically, their worst songs.
Yeah, well, I never dug deeper. I owned 90125, the only record I ever owned by them, which I know Yes fans are like, ugh, fucking piece of shit. I know, but that's smart music. Me, I was good with a Motley Crue record. I was good with Motley Crue singing those, inspired lyrics like "Slide down my knees and taste my sword." That was like, yeah, he's talking about getting his dick sucked. Yes, that was where I was, and I was always that guy. You know who the only guy, and you'll argue that this is progressive, but I will argue that talent-wise he was progressive, was Prince. And he was about the only guy that was smarter that I really was into. And I know that's not progressive metal or anything, but as far as creativity and whatnot, that guy was fucking amazing.
I saw the Purple Rain tour.
Yeah, me too. It's great.
Snowstorm at the Coliseum.
Yep, I was there. And 2 nights later was Kiss. And Kiss blew out the fucking... It was 3 shows in 3 days, and I went to all 3. It was Prince... The first night of the snowstorm, John Cougar the second night of the snowstorm,
I didn't go to John Cougar.
And then the next night was Kiss, and Kiss blew all the generators and played half their set acoustic because they blew everything out and they just had generator power.
Wow,
it was one of those. But I remember I went to all 3 of those shows in the snow. It's fucked up. I was like 16, and safe driver then because I became a safe driver. You can imagine how good I was driving then.
Wow.
But there you go, man. So I don't know that we talked about anything in particular here, but
just fucking Bang Tango, Jesus Christ.
So you're gonna watch that movie though, aren't you? Admit it. I'm
gonna drink half a bottle of Jaeger and watch that.
You're gonna go home tomorrow and you're gonna be like, let me see if I can find this.
I'll make it through about 3 minutes and then I'll say, God, what a dick he is, and then I'll turn it off.
You'll make it. If you're only gonna watch 3 minutes, fast forward to the last 3 minutes.
Okay.
Just skip.
Is that when somebody dies or something?
No, that's when you see that. Oh. That's when you see him with the fucking...
with the 2 people?
With the 2 people at Pine Knob.
Yeah. And I don't want to see him play in some festival in front of 20,000. I want to see him in front of 2 people.
Oh, well, there's none of that. Bang Tango... I think Bang Tango ever played in front of 20,000.
I want 2 people.
They showed him playing gigs even in the day, and it looked like the Agora Ballroom. I mean, they were not a big band.
Yeah.
But this documentary starts out trying to say that they were.
Of course.
Bang Tango. They were, what did they say? They were against the grain before there was a grain. Shut up.
I was a dick before you called people dicks.
Yeah, exactly. So bad.
I mean, at least a band like Great White was big for a period,
Yeah, well, all those bands. Even
or Extreme for Porno Graffiti were big for that period,
That's good. That's a good band, man.
Oh yeah.
People like to shit on that band, especially because of the failure of Van Halen. But Pornography and
3 Sides.
I didn't really dig 3 Sides as much. I hated that Warhead song. I didn't like that, but I did like "Am I Ever Gonna Change?" That's fucking badass. But I loved the Waiting for the Punchline.
Yeah,
that's good shit too, man.
That White Lion Pride album's a pretty good hair metal album.
Yeah.
That one album from them is the one good album. Vito Brada's playing on that is just fucking great throughout the whole album. Right. That carries that album.
But then that carried their career because they really did nothing after.
Oh, I thought everything else they did sucked. But that album I think is really good, but everything else just completely
Main
sucked.
Attraction and, I don't even remember what the other ones were. But,
I don't either.
And he's still out there doing it.
Oh, yeah. He should hook up with Bobby Blotzer. That'd be a good lineup, man.
White Rat.
They should have all these failed people get together and form this. Like, you couldn't call it. What's the antithesis of a supergroup? What would you call that?
Anti-group.
Yeah, it's not a super group, but a shitty group.
A shitty group. Here it is. It's Mike Tramp on vocals.
Bobby Blotzer on
Tracy
drums.
G on guitar.
Bobby Blotzer on
Bobby
drums.
Blotzer on drums. Who can we get as a bass player for this fucking monstrosity?
How about Bang Tango's bass player?
Yeah, which one? Oh my God! All right, well, let's play some music that's good.
Yes. What do you got coming up?
I don't know. Let's go here. How about some Scorpions? Old Scorpions.
Old Scorpions is
Will that
good.
work? That's not hair metal.
Do I get to pick the song?
No.
What album you got pulled up?
Animal Magnetism.
Okay.
I was going to go with
Hold Me Tight.
I was going to go with Falling in Love, but I can pull that one.
Hold Me Tight's heavier.
Well, let me switch over to here. Turn this mic up. All right, now switch to this mic.
If you're going to switch albums, go to Taken by Force, man.
All right, what am I on here? 6. Let me just go type it in here. Taken by Force. What would you like to hear off of that?
How about Sales of Chiron?
All right, there it is from the 50th anniversary version.
This is my favorite Scorpions album, man.
Sales of Chiron. All right, we'll go with 2 Scorpions songs. How about that? We'll go with Sales, and then we'll go with Falling in Love from Animal Magnetism. How's that work?
Sounds good.
All right, well, let's check it out. This is the Scorpions. It's Sales of Chiron right here on your Classic Metal Show.
Uli Roth, yeah.